extra time, waiting for the acolyte. I am gonna catch that fool. You will think I'm really cool. All I wanna do is impress you with my mouse trap. All I wanna do is convince you with my cheese. All I'll do is be the coolest cat here, but I'll need some more super breed. Just watch me, mouse. Just watch me catch you. Just watch me, mouse. Just watch me catch you, catch you, catch you. All I wanna do is impress you with my mouse trap. All I wanna do is convince you with my cheese. All I wanna do is be the coolest cat here, but I'll need some more super breed. Oh, but I need some more super breed. Oh, but I need some more super breed.
Hello, MouseHunt. Welcome to Feedback Friday. Today is June, I'm going to do it from memory, June 24, 2022. Check the watch. Yes, it is indeed June 24. Hello, everybody. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are in the world. My name's Dave. Hopefully everybody in the chat is doing well today. Looks like we have 70 mouse hunters hanging out at the moment. Hello, everybody. Nathan says he's loving the first page of the Jetstream scoreboard. Sally's sitting on the sidelines now doing the event. Diamond, love how fast the Sky Pirate maps are going. You think by the end you can, what it said. But then you can redecorate the walls with storm cells. All right, all right. Well, hello, Nathan says silly Sally. Oh dear. James, you got to 8 storm cells. You've been keeping it between 85 and 100. You are just flying at high speeds. Math with a solid tip, remember, avoid the Sky Palace indeed. This is a good time to stock up on storm cells. And then when things kind of, when the jet stream passes on by and the weather calms back down, great time to go to the palace. Use up all those storm cells. Hello though, Brian popping in the chat. Dave or Dave's coffee. I do have some coffee with me. I even have a cup with a lid on it. All right, just to remain, can remain being the butt of that joke of me spilling coffee quite frequently. No, just kidding, only twice. Ryan, hello from Singapore. We'll right back at you. He says Dave today, Pog. Well, welcome to you as well. Eric, Diamond, whole bunch of hunters in the chat. Rufin, hello to you as well. Good morning, Dave. Or so good morning, Dave. Matt's, well, good morning to you with many O's as well. Jason says, hello, Dave. How's Canada today? Hot and humid, otherwise pleasant. I'll take that over the snowy weather any day of the week, for the most part anyway, unless you have a toboggan in your foreseeable future. Greetings from the UK. Hello to you as well, James. The hunt widget is back indeed. Got a little scram. Got to remember to sound the horn now more than ever. In fact, I think I'm right at a warden, so we got to remember to retreat pretty darn soon in 2 minutes. Ronan asks, data stream soon. I think, yeah, we got to keep that in our back pocket a little bit. There was definitely a lot of enthusiasm for that last Feedback Friday I did, so I think that would be a fun one to dig into. That said, I don't know when we'd squeeze that in because the Folklore Forest is on the horizon. I imagine we'll probably touch on the Folklore Forest in the coming weeks as it kind of gets wrapped up. That might be a good segue, though. I thought today we could get some initial feedback and impressions on the jet stream. Some hunters chiming in the chat there, saying what we're up to in the jet stream. So maybe that's a good segue. So we'll just give a quick little update on Folklore Forest before we kind of wrap things up as well. But the jet stream, remember, it is going to end on July 5. That is, I'm not even going to pretend to know what day of the week that is. I'm pretty sure that's this coming Tuesday. Let's look at a calendar, all right? I've never set up the calendar on this computer. Awesome. All right. I don't even have a calendar available to me. That's my kryptonite here. But remember, the jet stream is coming to an end on July 5. When it comes to an end, basically around the same time Feedback Friday starts. That's 11 our time. I think that's, you know what, I'm not even going to risk saying what time that is in UTC or other areas of the world, but you can basically look at when Feedback Friday starts. That's the same time events usually start and end. When it comes to an end, basically the banner will go away, the jet streams calm down, the wardens and the paragons no longer drop additional storm cells, and you stop exploring that. Plus, your +1 speed bonus is just kind of gone at that point as well. So just a little food for thought. Keep that in mind as well. When it wraps up, that's going to be sort of how the closure is going to work. Jake says, wish we could sell storm cells. Well, hey, you can put them to good use up in the palace, and you can sell some of the jewels that you get from the palace. So, you know, indirectly, a little bit of, got to put a little bit of time into being able to cash them out if that's what you're looking. Sally says, move to Florida if you like it hot and humid. Uh-oh. I'll take heat without the humidity, please. We got to sound the horn. Here we go. We did it. 8 storm cells are ours. The Warden of Fog. Uh-oh. All right. Yeah, we got a little... The widget, we had a technical hiccup this morning getting the widget going. And so, yeah, it looks like the black text on a black background is back. So that's hard to read. But we'll fix that up hopefully for next time. But bear with me because I got to retreat. This is my last low altitude. All right, what are we picking? I like to get the shrine in the front, especially during the jet stream. Shadow or Draconic? I think I'm going to keep re-rolling there. Have enough Cyclone Stones. I can't get the shrine in the front. There we go. Forgotten, beautiful. Even some cloud curd on this island. That's a nice looking island, I think. Even for one you're going to bail from a little bit early. That Chrome Thought Obliterator with a Rift Charm. You just got power for days. Get the Bottled Wind going. Got a Cloud Curd bonus, a Sky Ore. What are you going to do, you know? And a Loot Cache at the back. That's all right. I'll take the Cloud Curd toward the front of an island. That's plenty exciting as well. But yeah, we're looking to get initial impressions, feedback. Is this something you'd like to see repeat at some point in the future? Should we kind of log that feedback for next time? Okay, you know, if there's a little bit of a lull in things, or we want to do something fun in the floating islands, could the jet stream returning, is that a good idea? Matt says, greetings, Dave. Very hot here in England as well. KDM Dave, what was the hiccup again? Warmest regards, KDM. Yep, it was a little bit of a rocky start. It was a little bit of a rocky start to the jet stream, and that's my bad. I screwed something up definitely while rolling that out, and so it was a little bit of a rocky start. And so big shout out to both Giorgio and Michelle. A big heart emote goes out. They kind of helped clean up a little bit of my mess alongside me. And so, yeah, definitely kind of some hunters didn't get the jet stream bonus on their very first Warden within the first few minutes the event was out there. So we went in and we had to fix that up. It was a little bit of a hiccup. That was on me. James is up to 100 storm cells. Very nice. Let me see. Where am I going? I'm at 138. I'm cruising along. Sound the horn, please. Short Jack, Billy, we did take a look at Big Jack, actually. That was a couple weeks ago on Feedback Friday. There was a lot of discussion about Big Jack, a lot of enthusiasm for her. We kind of sat down, you know, we spent a few minutes to try to map that out, and, you know, it was actually relatively turnkey to get her going, but I think for reasons that will become obvious as the weeks roll by here, there's just nowhere we can sort of slot her in on the immediate roadmap. So I don't think she's going to come around and visit this year, but we'll kind of keep that in the back pocket and see if she can make some room in her schedule, perhaps at the beginning of next year, but we'll see. But, you know, hindsight, would you have preferred Big Jack over the jet stream? Because now hindsight, maybe that's what we could have done instead of the jet stream. But that's a lot of the inspiration for the jet stream was, hey, the Folklore Forest is on the horizon as well. Maybe you just have a little bit you're looking to wrap up in the Sky Palace. And so kind of one last, not last, but, you know, a nice finale event, if you will, before there's kind of a new big area that might kind of draw a lot of your attention, and all your friends go there to start hunting. Kind of one last time to be hunting with a lot of friends, a little bit of exciting buzz before something else kind of comes out. Umli says, any chance that wardens will start dropping storm cells as loot? One piece from a warden would be good. I don't think so, no. We did initially in the, when we were playtesting the Sky Palace, wardens and paragons did drop cells, but we just couldn't quite get it in a place that felt good. So We ended up just kind of moving them all to the Paragons and utilizing Richard and the Pirates as well as a good kind of extra incentive of getting loot caches and pirate hunting. Diamond's at 170. Dallas is at 178, not to be outdone. Brian says it would be nice if multiple mini events run at the same time. They can be switched on. Jetstream, Sunken City, Zombie. Yeah, that was the original sort of intention with the mini events. Something that really kind of turn of a key, easy to turn on and off. And I think the lesson learned as we tried that, it's just not as turnkey as you'd expect. It's kind of hard to get that fine-tuned. So yeah, I don't know, kind of lesson learned. We went back, kind of feedback from players, and a little bit of a different approach to how we kind of do some of the smaller events or a mini event. I don't know if we tend to call that to players, but we tend to say a kind of a mini event is something a little smaller in scope for us anyway. Mark says eggnog in the event with that. That's going back quite a few years. Good old Squeaker Claus was out and about. Can we exchange bottled wind for storm cells? Not directly, but indirectly, right? You can certainly use it to get your storm cells a little faster and quicker. So it's a useful tool to get them. Peter's up to 204 storm cells. Very nice work. Both events simultaneously cater to the hundreds of different ranks. There'd be a little bit of design effort around how does the camp banner work. And so I don't think we just had enough time to kind of sort out if you had two of them going on. I don't know if we'd want two kind of big banners stacked up above your journal. We'd probably like to polish that a little bit and give some thought. Okay, if you're in this area, you see this one. If you're in this area, you see that one. So just a couple rough edges, but definitely good food for thought. Maybe a couple little loose ends to tie up before we could run them both simultaneously. Grant says Jetstream is good. We have so many mini events. Haven't had one in a while. It would be nice to have some for the lower level players. Yeah, for sure. We tend to keep an eye too on kind of where a lot of players are focusing their attention right now and where the most players are hunting. Glenda says, love the Jetstream. Maybe it could be a time thing that happens every month for a few days. It's a little tricky, and I think maybe lesson learned from the toxic spill. That's actually how the toxic spill used to work. And maybe fair enough that the toxic spill, because it has unique mice, it is a little bit different. But ultimately, it creates this weird dynamic where, because I can't do it all the time, when it's there, I feel compelled or like, I better go do that thing, even if you don't want to. And it ends up kind of being a bit of a drag. So I think kind of lesson learned from that was to maybe kind of avoid those timed things that are automatic, because it sort of removes some of the fun of choice and just being able to decide for yourself where you want to go. It kind of, I don't know, it nags on you a little bit like, well, there's the Jetstream. I guess I better go do this because I can't always do it. So I think maybe just a little more few and far between to have it be something special and kind of bring friends together as well. There's something intrinsically fun about just doing the same thing as other people at the same time. Matt says, I'll be crushing Empresses before moving on to the next area after this event. Yeah, definitely. It'll be some fun doing back-to-back Palace runs for sure. Yeah, Judas, I agree with Brian. It'd be nice to have events cater to other ranks as well as running concurrency. Yeah, we'll have to give that some thought, see how we would sort of flesh that out. We have a little bit of work to do on kind of massaging the interfaces and get everything kind of working properly. Even some technical constraints, because there's usually the assumption made only one is running. So we'll have to kind of look at, well, what happens if multiple of them are running. Do you ask any hints on what items we'll need to unlock Folklore Forest? We can touch a little bit on that today, but won't spoil the mystery too much. There'll be lots of time to kind of figure it out when it comes out as well. And I think part of the fun as well will be just kind of going around, and hopefully we'll be able to hide a few little fun things to uncover, a few bits of lore, a few little nuggets to explore as well. Daniel, but this event is discriminating against lower rank hunter. I don't think that's quite the right word. I mean, certain things have title requirements in the same way. Hey, the Floating Islands has Archduke, Archduchess. And often too, when you're at that stage, if you've already sort of accomplished a lot, maybe you've finished your adventure book, it kind of makes sense when you're at that stage of the game. There's a little bit of extra something to do. Whereas, somebody right now, if you're legendary, you have months, if not years, of things to do ahead of you that are all brand new to you as well, right? So, if you look at it through that perspective, I don't think discrimination is quite the right word there, but I can understand. Like I said, there's something fun about doing the same thing as other people at the same time, and definitely kind of a time limited event encourages that sort of fun atmosphere. It's like a carnival type atmosphere. Everyone's there, and somebody's getting the cotton candy, someone's going on a ride. You get to talk about the same thing. Oh, what did you do? What was your favorite treat? Oh, I like the candy apples. I like caramel apples. Partial little caramel apple myself. We hope to get around 1,000 cells before the end. Keep it up. Umi says the jet stream is awesome, but a bit charm consuming. I think that's part of the fun. I don't know, I don't want to speak for everyone, but it's kind of nice that I get to kind of reach down deep into the charm reserve and say, I'm using these heavy hitters right now. I'm busting out the big guns. Galen still want a way to combine power charms and luck charms to make lucky power charms. That's interesting. You mentioned that. It's even been the topic of discussion. It was interesting. We've certainly played around with different charm structures and different approaches to charms throughout the years. And so far, I feel like we've gotten a lot of positive feedback around the way wealth charms work. That led to inspiration of how ancient charms work in the floating islands, being able to kind of upgrade them, snowball charms, spooky charms. It's a nice way to still have a bit of variety, but without them all being so unique, it's kind of hard to manage and remember, okay, what do these do? Where do they come from? How do I get more? When should I use them? And so, I don't know. If we had a magic brush to go back in time and rethink charms, I'd imagine a lot of them would work. We'd want them to work a little bit that way, where, hey, you get power charms and you can exchange them for supers, and you can exchange those for extremes, and you can exchange those for ultimates, and then you can combine them to make the penultimate tier of that. Because what's nice about a system like that is no matter which tier you get, you can always use them, and different players at different points in the game and different things in their inventory will sort of naturally plateau at a certain level. If you do a lot of maps, all of a sudden ultimate ancient charms, like, oh, I have lots of those. Maybe I'll go all the way up to rainbow because I have so many. But if you don't do very many maps, maybe like, what, I don't have that many ancients. I'll just take it to super extreme. Everyone kind of makes their own decision, but they're all the right decision for them. And that's usually a great sign in a game when different players make different choices, but they're all right choices for that player. It typically shows, hey, there's some depth. So I think that system's held up very well. And it's good food for thought as we go forward. I feel like finally, over years of iteration and occasionally poking around in the dark, I think we've kind of found a way to make charms work where there's not too many of them. I know Jacob champions the expression, the more of something there is, the less special each one of them becomes. And charms reached that point, I think, as the years went by. There's a lot of them. You can't remember them, can't keep them straight. That's a need of a bit of a cleanup for sure. Tyler says, is there any data being collected on which power type is being selected most? I'm going to assume you mean specifically the floating islands. I don't think off the top of my head we have that. Reaper still waiting for Living Garden Herb Exchange event, eh? That sounds kind of fun. That would be up my alley, but I don't know. I seem to always burn through them though still. Brian, speaking of the adventure book, you appreciate the revamped Clawshot City adventure. Fewer hunters will find Law as tedious as new power type Lord Lady. Absolutely, as I kind of play through that area as well. And holy smokes, could not finish it. It would be impossible. And even kind of, if you get a little bad luck, every time you open up a map, you get a different gang boss, and it's just you don't know which one you're going to get next. So even just the act of completing the adventure. I mean, sometimes we'd play through, and you would do it in a few hundred hunts, and sometimes you'd play through, and it would take a few thousand hunts. So that was a little bit excessive. So yeah, kind of a few tweaks. Hopefully just low-hanging fruit. I think there's more we would love to do as well, but that was kind of a nice, quick and easy, yet high-impact kind of change to make. So glad to hear it worked out well. Anon, does anyone else think the volume of Dave's mic is too low? I suppose I could turn it up a little bit. If I can figure out how to do that. Where is my microphone? We'll notch it up just a little bit. Come to think of it, it does look like it was a little low. Hopefully I'm a little louder. Watch them release a new map which requires storm cells to buy. Well, we can't get into too many specifics, but there will be a pre-release. And we'll touch on that a little bit this Feedback Friday as well, but rest assured there'll be plenty of time to unlock the map piece for Folklore Forest. There'll be nothing. I think it worked out fairly well. You know, something we've done when you unlock MouseHunt. We did a pre-release. You could go get all the climbing equipment ahead of time. And same with Floating Islands. That one was a little bit more involved, repairing the Oculus. That one was a little bit more of a mystery. I think this one feels a little bit more like how MouseHunt worked, but with a different, interesting twist. I think we've combined the best of both worlds, and at least on paper so far. I'm really excited with how it turned out. I feel like we took kind of the best parts of both those pre-releases and kind of executed it, hopefully, anyway, in a way that... kind of embodies both fun story and narrative to dig into, as well as just, you know, a few little check boxes to check off, if you will, a few boxes to check. KDM, what's the maximum theoretical storm cell gain for the mini event? You know, I'd have to crunch the numbers on that. I don't think that'd be too hard to figure out, though. I mean, even just envelope math, if you just take 8 as the drop, because, you know, once you get it up into the high speed, it's not too hard to keep it up there. You know, that's quite intentional. You'll notice kind of low and medium are both half the bar, and then the high jet stream is the other half of the bar entirely altogether. So, you know, it's quite intentional to, you know, let you know, if you're like 5 hunts away from a Paragon and you're going to go to bed right now, it's like, well, you don't have to stay up for a whole other hour. When you wake up, don't worry. You'll still be in the high zone. All's good. Just check it in the morning. Eileen made 10K rainbow charms yesterday, and you still have 65,000 ultimate ancients. I think you are the exception, or you are in the upper echelons of mapping, you know. Maybe one day we'll have something you can upgrade your rainbows, but for all intents and purposes, you may have unlimited rainbow charms. Yes, can't hear Dave over your truck. Tell you what, we can max the microphone. I'm not peaking. Why not? We'll go 100%. Is a new computer. Maybe the gain has not been adjusted since I've streamed on a different computer now. Mara agrees with the volume. All right, well, it's all the way up, so we'll see. I'll take that feedback for the next stream. I'll have to see if I can adjusting the gain of the mic itself is unfortunately a little bit more involved. Not something I'm going to quite tweak with as we go. Press your horn, Dave. Somebody must have taken me on a hunt. Who was it? And I had a trap check. Vern took me on a hunt. Thank you, Vern. Got a Spry Sky Seer mouse, a tongue twister. Forgotten Island, eh? Yep, I like the Forgotten Islands. I feel like with the Crone Thought Obliterator and you bust out a, you know, just a Rift Charm with the Stalker bonus on there, you get a nice juicy power bonus. And that thing's a heavy hitter. I've got 35,629 power right now. It's hard to miss mice. It's hard to miss mice with that. Hake says, loud and crisp. All right, well, hopefully we're good. I'm up in the yellow and not the red. Hey, cool. All right. When will the Chrome Dragon Slayer cannon come out, asks. Heck W there. Nathan, make longer friend hunt time for events. Dennis gonna go in a coma soon. Oh, dear. Well, don't lose any sleep over it. Hey, there's always more time to get storm cells and what have you. So there's a balance to be had there. Alex says the new computer doesn't have a coffee boosted mic. Hey, I'll try my best not to spill coffee on it. Volume is better. All right, sweet. Thank you very much. We cranked it up all the way. Hopefully that's good. Matt says Eileen is the Richardess of the Lady Rich. These are when it comes to ancients and all things to do with maps. On your way to 30,000 map clues, 57 more to go. Almost there. That is quite the feat. James, what's the best way to farm a Rift Ultimate Lucky Power Charms, eh? There might be a few ways to go about it. Brian asks, Folklore Forest must be where Zugzwang got his inspiration to write his journal. Folklore Forest would be the perfect place to reintroduce Zugzwang's notes to collect. You mean Plank Run, though. That's an iron in the fire, not too much to share there, but still very much in the ideation phase. And so, just help manage expectations. Don't like to share things before they're sort of at least in the act of being developed. So it's still in the sort of ideation, brainstorming phase. It's a kind of proposal, if you will, but it's starting to gel up. Something we've wanted to do for a long time is just kind of go back and just reimagine Plankruns pages. Hopefully I'm not a broken record. I've said in the past, their original purpose was to help you discover crafting recipes. So you'd find this page and it would literally tell you how to craft cheese, and that's how you would discover how to do these things in game. As the years ticked by, though, we found better ways of doing that. It's not really, as the game grew in complexity and depth, the fun part wasn't trying to figure out how to make cheese anymore. It was figuring out, the best way to manage that cheese and the best where to use it in the best way possible, or how to go about an adventure in a specific way. So as that kind of phased out, we just put more of that right into the HUD. The fun part wasn't trying to randomly figure out how to craft things, but the fun part comes once you have that resource and how you're going to apply it and what you're going to, the choices you're going to use of how you utilize that resource. So we've kind of put that all in the HUD. So we want to go back, reimagine Plankruns pages as a great vessel for just lore, answering some of the story narrative questions that are just kind of hard to fit into things like mouse descriptions, as well as have a little bit of a collectible theme to them. It's a good reward space where, hey, can you collect them all? And as you find them, it kind of reveals, a few little tidbits here and there of the story. Frank, do you have an ETA on Folklore Forest? There's lots of work left, but a rough ETA would be awesome. We're getting there. I'm always scared to share time frames, but maybe that's a good segue into a quick Folklore Forest update, because today, believe it or not, today is the project's main due date before we begin dedicated playtesting and QA, and we are right on track. I'm pretty sure it is 99% complete in terms of the tasks that need to be done to wrap it up and say, yep, we're done the Folklore Forest. It is sitting at 99%. Norman's been cracking away at finishing up some descriptions, a few loose ends here and there. So we're in great shape. We're looking to wrap things up so that next week, awesome, we're going to be focused on playtesting. There's a few things as well we kind of do during the end of it. Once we have everything up and running, there's some things that are just easier to do then. Kind of going back, thinking about how it affects other existing areas in the game, things like that. Believe it or not, we started this December 6th. Looked it up today. That was when the first kind of line of code was written, if you will, was December 6th. And actually January. Remember, we came back from the holiday break and we really just hit the ground running. Liz was putting together a lot of great sort of sketches and mock-ups, kind of design direction for some of the interfaces in December. And then we came back in January and it's like, all right, let's actually kind of firm these up, start doing some assets for the UI. So, hey, it's been a long time in the works, and hats off to the whole team. Because it was probably February, we felt we had enough sort of I often call it scaffolding, or just enough work in place to kind of proof of concept and get a better sense for how long something's going to take. We sat down, it was probably in February, and kind of plotted out all the work that had to be done to make Folklore Forest a reality. And we came up with today as the due date, and sure enough, here we are, 99% complete. The team's done a great job. We finished it exactly on time. Which is actually not too out of the ordinary for us, to be honest. When it comes to kind of making content, we've been a well-oiled machine. We've got lots of experience to be able to estimate, but there's always those phases. I'll draw a comparison to, you hire a contractor to do a renovation. They have to kind of come do some measurements, even maybe kind of open up a wall, make sure there's no, is there a pipe back here? That's going to mean I got to do some plumbing. And that's that initial, few weeks of development. Kind of get just enough in place. Like, okay, it's kind of working. I better understand the problem and the scope of work. And it was just fantastic. Then we were able to kind of roadmap that all out. And now the big day has come. And hey, awesome, we're all done. But now it's time to start playtesting. And kind of all the fun tweaking and tuning that goes along with that. Norm says it will be 100% by 5 p.m. Guaranteed. All right, I'm going to get in there and throw some monkey wrenches at you. No, just kidding. No. Great work, Norm, and then the whole team. We're here now. It's time for the equally fun part of playtesting as well. We've done some playtesting, obviously, already. But it's just nice when there's not mice illustrations to do. There isn't, the big pieces of the code to put together and functionality. Everything works, and it's about just making what's there better. Trying to find, bugs, smoothing out things, tweaking kind of drop rates, and maybe a few art tweaks here and there, move a button by a few pixels. Like, oh, this interface was a little bit difficult. Can we just kind of tweak it to smooth it out, Swift says, wait, that hole in the map happens to be exactly the same shape as the mountains in the surrounding forest. You may notice that the hole in the map looks a little bit different, almost as though it's a reflective surface that I wish I could look through, but it's too foggy. I wonder what could lay below that slightly reflective surface. I wonder if I could build something to help reveal the mystery of how to peer through that glass. I wish I could, if only I had some instrument that would allow me to see what's underneath that veil. And that's a good note. We are planning to start the pre-release phase for Folklore Forest, which, if you haven't been around for a pre-release before, it's typically when you can find the map piece, so that when the actual area is opened up, you have everything you need to go to travel there on the first day. We're looking to start that on the same day that the jet stream comes to an end. And it kind of went back and forth a little bit. Jacob made some great points that ultimately had us settle on that as the goal, unless some unforeseen challenge comes up. But I'm pretty confident that we're in good shape to launch that when the jet stream comes to an end. Because it'll be it'll be lots of time as well. You'll be able to use your storm cells up, and kind of as it reveals how you obtain the map piece as well, you have all the information you need to decide how you want to go about using maybe some of your floating islands resources. So that felt like the best date. That said, it might be a slightly longer pre-release than some other areas, at least from memory. If memory serves me well, some of the pre-release phases have been a little bit brief. This one might be slightly longer, but more details to follow as everything kind of gets firmed up. Like I said, although today's the main due date for Folklore Forest and we're all wrapped up, as we playtest, that is just as equally important. If we're not happy with a piece of it, hey, we want to make sure we take a good amount of time to get it right. So before we kind of commit to a release date. Alex says, thank you, Alex. There you go, Norm. Dave's going to put some date-based code in this afternoon. That will very clearly be the monkey wrench you're looking for. Yep. I think I'm just not allowed to ever program anything with dates ever again. We'll just call that something I'm incapable of doing. You may as well go ask me to figure skate. I'm just going to fall on my face. Just turn off the mist canisters, says Reaper. I don't know if that quite looks like Rift Mist. I don't know. Seems reflective to me. I don't know if you tuned into Jacob's Feedback Friday last week. Maybe you got a few hints there. Maybe a few narrative drops. We'll see. Swift, can you suggest a massive fan? Well, I don't know. I don't think it's fog. It looks kind of reflective. I'm going to say if I threw a bouncy ball at that, it would bounce straight off. I don't know. That's maybe all the hints we'll get. Ronan says, molten glass from Murray Market. Could you imagine how much it would take to create a sheet of glass the size of a mountain range? Get your artisan charms going. Ole. MC Perez asks, should we assume storm cells will be used in Folklore Forest? I think it's okay to say they will not be used inside the Folklore Forest. No, when you arrive at Folklore Forest, I don't think that particular fuel source will prove particularly useful in the forest area, the farm, the pond, and the table of contents. And if you didn't, it's actually going back a little bit. We did do a little bit of a sneak peek at the Folklore Forest several weeks ago. It was also a good reminder, if you weren't there for that way down in the bottom corner, it's awfully hard to point to. Tactical, Hydro, and Forgotten are the power types that you'll utilize in the Folklore Forest. So, maybe you're using the jet stream to stock up on some storm cells because, much like myself, you don't have the tier 2 tactical trap. Well, it is a great time to get a few more jewels to bolster your collection to see if you can maybe round that out. That said, that is not a requirement to go to the Folklore Forest. In fact, as we playtest, we don't use the tier 2 tactical. That's like above and beyond. If you have that, you are just annihilating the mice there in the tactical area. So, it's not a requirement, but definitely, hey, a nice to have. Why not? If you're going to use a trap, why not use the best one sometimes, right? Shaheen says, what if we change our system time? Will it release the new area? I often wish, obviously the reverse, that I could pause time or I could rewind time and just, spend a little bit more. Pause time, do a bunch of work, unpause it, and have it all come out. Mac asks, will there be a new rank beyond Fabled, eh? I mean, let us get some areas first. Let us flesh out Archduke before we think that far ahead. But right now, that is the level cap. That said, if you're not familiar, there's a hidden stat, which, again, in the backlog, one day we want to make it more in the forefront. Wisdom is how you kind of level up. It's like your experience points. You can continue to earn wisdom even when you reach Fabled. It's just not doing anything for you. So, if we ever do raise it kind of retroactively, at least right now the plan would be everyone would just instantly level up. But that said, just at least until we have a Fabled area, I don't know if we're going to lift that the cap off the max title. Matt says, hey, it's transparent. You can see through. Can you? Yeah, I think maybe you can you? We'll see. Maybe I better start streaming in 4K to really be able to see those details. Yeah, it seems like there's a dark area, there's a lighter area, maybe a little patch of orange in there. It might be something underneath that veil. Gia asks, is the Folklore Forest part of Hollow Heights, or is it a totally new region? So brand new area, brand new region called Folklore Forest, and it'll have 3 areas in it. And I'm pretty sure we mentioned it on that Folklore Forest stream we did a while ago. The Prologue Pond, the Forward Farm, and the Table of Contents are the first 3 areas. And, if we stick to this original plan and vision, it'll be the sort of staging ground, just the beginning of a storyline. It's the Table of Contents. That's right at the start of a book. And so hopefully, if all goes according to plan, it'll be almost a little bit. I don't want to draw comparisons in case that area wasn't your cup of tea. So I don't mean, take it with a grain of salt, but almost like how the Fungal Cavern spanned multiple releases. To a degree, Queso Geyser, right? Kind of same way. The first 3 areas of the canyon came out, and then the geyser kind of put an exclamation point at the end. Got you to use those same resources in new and exciting ways. So again, right now, just ideation more than concrete vision, but hopefully if all goes according to plan and feedback points that way, it'll be just the start of more to come. That said, oh boy, there's a lot to sink your teeth into in those 3 areas. Even had a lot of fun yesterday. I did not even a full playthrough, and there's a lot to sink the teeth into for sure. I don't think even this morning I went through and I even stopped before I technically finished what will likely be the adventure for the area. So there's lots to be done. Sri asks, will Folklore Forest be an Archduke or a Viceroy Plus area? You know what, maybe I don't quite want to make that official announcement, but I'm pretty sure we're settled on the title. But we'll save that maybe for another Feedback Friday. Matt thinks there might be a pond under that glass. Eh? Well, there's the lake, the farm. Yeah. No, fair enough. I mean, hey, Hydro's a power type, and we literally showed the work in progress heads-up display for the Prologue Pond. So I think you can probably spot a bit of a pond under there. And the Forward Farm, you might be able to see the farm. Table of Contents might be a little hard to make out, but we'll see. Hunt now. I missed my hunt again, but somebody took me on a hunt. Thank you, Erica, who took me on a hunt. A Spry Sky Explorer mouse. Cruising along. These islands, just you snap your fingers and you're almost at the Warden. I can't believe it. Since the start of the stream, and I'm already in the second zone here on the island. Ronan says, Grand Duke, maybe. It'll definitely be at least Archduke. And just as we get to the pre-release phase as well, there might be, some things to explore in the world. Roofwin asks, how do you assign points in gold for mice in a new area? Well, we kind of have a rough guideline of points in gold per hunt by title that we're kind of aiming to achieve. And so obviously that plays a role in it. And it kind of comes down to the structure of the area as well. If it's something, we often call it Froma gameplay, tiered cheese progression. Get this mouse to get an item, to get a tier of cheese to hunt the next tier of mice to get an item to get the next tier of cheese. I feel like Froma was the first area like that, so we often call it like a little Froma gameplay. And then we'll probably aim to have the mice at the final tier worth more than the mice on the lower tier. It just kind of makes sense, and then it's kind of fun when you stockpile a bunch of that hard to get cheese. It's like, whoa, watch all the points and gold pile in. But then if you kind of average it all out over the total number of hunts that it takes to gather all those resources, we kind of have a rough number we're looking to achieve. So sort of, a little bit of everything, a little bit of, pushing and pulling what feels right, and then kind of looking after the fact to see if it lines up where we want it to be in the grand scheme of things as well. That's it. Events play a bit of a role as well. They're often a little bit of a cheat code to either let you skip or just forget that you spent time during the event to obtain some hard to get resources. You get a rare piece of diamond cheese, maybe, back during an event, and you take that to the fungal cavern. Well, that diamond cheese was probably easier to get than it normally is in the fungal cavern, so that definitely kind of expedites things a little bit. Josh says, how big of an area is it? What would you compare it to the scope to in regards to other areas, eh? I don't know, that's hard. I think that's pretty subjective. There are, 34 mice, take that for what it is. Some upgrades to earn while you're there as well. That kind of adds some nice depth to it and some goals to go for. I don't know. I might, if I had a and ha, I think everyone will have a different answer. For me, maybe I would say Queso Canyon with the geyser on it. In terms of just like how much there is to do and explore. Because there's 3 areas to explore. There are, I'm going to miscount the types of cheese. There's Grabine, there's Clam and Bear, there's Stormy Clam and Bear, there's First Draft, Second Draft, and Final Draft Derby, and then you're going to use Standard Cheese. Are there 6 new types of cheese? And the Queso Canyon introduced all those tiers of queso as well. Frank is something with fire to melt that ice. Could it be ice? Is it ice? I don't know. What could it be? Reaper, how many new traps and bases are we expecting to see there? I might save that maybe for a little future feedback Friday. We'll have to see too what the schedule will look like in terms of feedback Friday. Actually, next Friday is a holiday here. It is Canada Day, if I'm not mistaken, falls on Friday. So our offices will be closed. That's a statutory holiday here in Canada. So we'll probably not have a feedback Friday next week, come to think of it, which means next week I'll have to look at a calendar. We'll see. But we'll definitely do a Folklore Forest sneak peek. That said, it's a big area. Lots of things to explore and enjoy. So we probably won't get too deep into spoilers anyway. Quar time is nearly upon us. I think you're right, Brian. It's just about time for trivia. Hopefully there's a lottery-type mechanic like the rib in Folklore Forest. That definitely is few and far between. Just over the years, we always try to fine-tune it a little bit. But definitely different sort of reward structures appeal to different types of players. And so a nice thing about MouseHunt is every area is an opportunity to kind of appeal to that different type of player. Like there's lots of types. There's the slow and steady. Like every hunt I take is getting me a little bit closer to my destination. Like Jules. That Tier 2 tactical trap is above and beyond in terms of earning it, but every hunt you take gets you a little bit closer there. Polar opposite in the geyser where, you got to make some wildfire, granted, that's no small feat, but your next capture, it could just, all of it happens in a single hunt. And those are the 2 extremes. Either this is going to take me thousands and thousands of hunts, or the next hunt could be the one that just completes the whole thing. And then there's everywhere in between. Sunken City is a good in between where, hey, you need some predatory processors. Maybe the next time you catch Tritus, or if you're really lucky, I believe the Ancient of the Deep can even drop them. Maybe you get a predatory processor. If not, as you get those sand dollars, you're collecting them, you can buy a processor from the store there. So, we try to find something that appeals to everybody in different areas. That said, just the polarizing nature, either it's a love it or hate it relationship with something like the rib. It isn't time to quite repeat that yet, so I think you can rest assured there's no anything near the rarity of jackpot rib in Folklore Forest. 7 minutes till you hunt David. Watch your timer. It's ticking down. Maybe we'll shift gears to the Quar being 45 minutes in. That works for me. Let's hope I hid the answer today. Super difficult question this week. Hopefully you were paying attention just now. But how many mice are going to be added with the Folklore Forest? That is today's trivia question. Let's hope you're keeping some notes or you have a photographic memory and because it was on the screen all of 10 seconds ago. 34 is correct. Daniel with the fingers of fire blazing in there with the type. The quick type in there. 34 is correct. Super difficult because literally the answer was on the screen moments ago. 34 mice though. Hey, we'll let that hit home. Over 9,000 says Hockey. I don't think so. The link is in the chat for your clicking convenience. Norman with the answer over 33. All right, honorable mention to Norman. That is correct. There are at least 33 and a half mice. Over 33.99 mice. Dave better check, is it really 34? There is no 34 in the month of June. Yep. Norm gave me the number. All right. Please forward all complaints to the Norman department if that number is wrong when it comes out. Gift has expired. Are y'all yanking my chain? How is that possible? Could the Larry system be broken? Gift expired. Linked expired. Oh boy. All right. Well, let's try again. Nope, no chain yanking. All right, I'm trusting the chat here because I actually can't click it myself right now. We'll make a new one. Norm, are you still watching, Norm? Norm, can you be my guinea pig? I can be your guinea pig. I can take away your pain. Norm is watching. All right. Norm, I'm sending you the most private of message with a reward link. Does that link work, or have we broken Larry? Is Larry hoarding his loot again? You just couldn't resist, could you, Norm? Yeah, he says, yeah, free rib, it's working. All right, I'll take that as confirmation that it's working. Okay, all right. All right, I don't know what happened there. We were in a bit of a mad scramble this morning trying to get the stream organized, so. All right, second time a charm. Another link in the chat for your clicking convenience. Larry does not like to share. That's not very friendly of him for a friendly night. Let's hope that worked. I think it's working. I can see on Discord this one works. Yep, they see what it is. All right. Thank you, LZ on Discord. Click in that link. Let me double check here. I wonder what I did. We even have a history. You can even retroactively check what the links were. What did I do? Date expires July 2nd. That last link should have worked. I wonder if I put the claim limit. Maybe I made a typo in the claim limit and it was set to only like 2 people are allowed to claim it. We should probably just put a sensible default in that box. Make that a little to do. Giorgio made a gemstone cheese link a while ago. Five gilded, guaranteed to be 10 Super Brie in each one due to the bad link in the beginning. Best of luck. Gilded charms. They're always fun. I like using gilded charms. I can still remember, anecdote here of when gilded charms came to be. We were putting together gilded maps and we just couldn't figure out what to put inside the treasure chests. Because everything felt either a little bit underwhelming, just the way gilded maps work. And I remember we went out for lunch. We took our lunch break, and I don't know if it was a Friday. I don't remember what day of the week it was, but we went out for lunch that day. And we sat in like this place that served lobster rolls. And they had it special on lobster rolls. So we sat and we had lobster rolls for lunch. which were delicious, and we came up with the idea of gilded charms over that lunch that day. Must have been a date-related bug in the last link. All right, KDM. There's certain things I'll never live down. Spilling coffee and screwing up dates. All right? They're my kryptonite. Thank you for the Chrome School of Sharks upgrade kit. Thank you for the rib. Rest assured, that doesn't appear in the drop-down box. So it's just that at least mistake can't be made. We'll switch back here. We may as well wait one more minute here. We got a hunt coming up in 1 minute. 55 seconds to be exact. Waiting for a Rift Gilded Charm. Get a nice little power and potentially luck bonus while you're... Now, with a Rift Gilded Charm, do you think that should give you magical string cheese, or should it still be Super Brie? July 2nd of what year? Yeah, let's not rule that out. I mean, I did look at the date. Look at this, 2021. So sometimes that just sticks around and I'll think it's 2021 for a few weeks. We have 3 seconds before someone can steal our horn, correct? I believe that is right, Jason. I believe it's 3 seconds. It might be 5, but there's a short period there. If we were to kind of redo that, though, I think we would just kind of reimagine how you look at a friend brought you on a hunt. Probably a good page, a lesson learned from mobile. Do I get to sound my own horn? I did. Excellent. Good luck reading that. Cam, you lost mouse. All right. We'll try to fix that up for next Feedback Friday and restore the dark black background with white text rather than the black text on a gray background. Something tells me that doesn't pass the accessibility check for readability. Magical string cheese for sure. +1 to magical string cheese if you do Rift Gilded Charms. Norman, ooh, Rift Gilded giving magical string. That's a fun idea. Yeah, maybe you go and you upgrade them or something, you know? Add a little bit of calcified Rift Mist or something. Add an A essence. I don't know if that makes sense. I guess it does, you know? You need an essence to make the cheese. Rift Rodentia Tribal Isle after Folklore Forest, perhaps. I mean, perhaps. Right now, again, all plans can potentially change, and a lot of it comes down to feedback, but we'd like to just continue expanding the Folklore Forest region, at least for the foreseeable future. So, you know, all things based on feedback, but I think that's probably what's going to, you know, go in front of the train tracks. That's going to be on the road map. I don't know what metaphor I'm looking for there, but that'll be on the... I don't know, road trip map. I don't know. I started making metaphor and I failed at it. Yeah, Jason, I'd like to be able to toggle the ability for people to take you on hunts and limited bait and charms. Yeah, it's been floating around the idea bank as well, but kind of no immediate timelines of when we might be able to take a look. Rift Hollow Heights. Well, we'll see. That story has a ways to go, and I'd imagine something special would probably happen when you hit Twisted Carmine, because it's kind of where the story begins. And like any good story, it usually ends in the same place it started. Or maybe I'm thinking of a song, you know? It usually ends on the same note it started with. The Platinum Base canceled officially. There is no Platinum Base, and there are no plans for there ever to be a Platinum Base. So it can be retired into the history books of the game. All references to it have been stripped out, and so that's a pretty strong signal, as there will not very likely ever be a Platinum Base. Why can't we recombine Toothlets into a Fulmina Tooth? That allows us to give away Toothlets with a lot more... generosity, if you will. I don't know if that's the right word, but you can very liberally give away Toothlets because they can't be formed back into a tooth. So if they could be, then from Ronzo, they would probably cost, I don't know, like, you know, 20 chrome bits each or something, a lot more than just one. Otherwise, teeth would just be, there'd be millions of teeth. They'd be absolutely worthless if you could reconstitute them. So it's a very intentional design decision that you can't put them back into the teeth, so we can give away Toothlets without giving away teeth. Platinum Base goes the way of the salt mines. It's just eroding somewhere in those salt mines as we speak. Any chance for a watch app? We've been kind of cooking away at that a little bit. Parma now, Chris as well. I've been taking a look, kind of in between other things here and there. Trying to get a sense of how many people have an Apple Watch who play the game, and it's not a whole lot of players, but it's also kind of maybe a fun thing to experiment with as well. Yomadani plans to reduce the sand dollar cost for the School of Sharks trap, like the Fool's Gold reduction in Clawshot City. I don't think so, but can't speak with certainty. But we've already done kind of our Trapsmith pass, so I don't think we'll change that. We still kind of in the backlog. We want to do a pass on charms. Originally, that update was going to be all the shops, like overhaul the Trapsmith, the cheese shop, the charm shop, the cartographer, and all. But it very quickly became evident, like, whoa, that's going to take a really long time. We'll kind of piecemeal it a little bit. So, charm shop's still in the works to kind of reimagine that, and cheese shop is going to be a little bit longer because there's some technical limitations where we would like to be able to sell the same item for different costs in a shop, and right now we can't do that. So it has a bit of a technical blocking requirement. Jason says, I only noticed the other day that the Signature Series denture-based graphic changes when you're low on teeth. Genius. I think there's even a few variations of it, depending on how many teeth you have. I think the teeth start lighting up. I could be wrong, though. Zephyron, why not just make teeth smash into 15, but take 150 to rebuild? Well, as I mentioned, it's very intentional. So you can give away toothlets, and that's not giving away teeth. So, something to imagine like a Larry gift. We would never put a full Mina's tooth into a Larry gift. But toothlets, you can, because they're basically a charm that's just, you use it with a base, and you can use a charm at the same time. But hopefully you get my drift. And so that we can give away toothlets free, so they can be nice and inexpensive when Ronza shows up, without them being an actual tooth that you're obtaining. So it's very intentional that you cannot craft a tooth from toothlets, and there are no plans to change that. Yeah, Ryan, I got an Apple Watch to play the game. I get the notification, but the horn does nothing. That's correct. The notifications coming through, it's just kind of default iOS behavior, is that when you get a notification on your phone, it kind of mirrors it on your watch. But it won't, the hunt button won't actually work because it's sort of not hooked up. Without going into a whole lot of detail, basically, you need an actual app, which I also find a little bit weird. That's the way iOS works, but that's the way it works. Is there an app for Windows rather than use a browser? Nope. You just fire up your favorite web browser, type in MouseHuntGame.com, and you're off to the races. Frank, any update on an update to Charm Conduit levels? And completely scrapped. No plans to ever have a different Charm Conduit. We've removed any mention of different levels of Charm Conduit from the entire game. So there's only one, and that's it. Garmin usually works. Yeah, it kind of comes down to sort of how that platform implemented the notifications, right? So, but on that note, have we hit noon? Not quite, but we have pretty well hit the hour mark. That might be my cue to take off. No pun intended. Take off somewhere to a floating island near you. Any plans to port to Steam? I think that would be a lot of work for not very much benefit because it's a web browser game. So I think if you're on Steam, you can pretty well just load up a web browser and play the game. So I think the time invested in like creating an elaborate Steam client would probably not really provide all that much benefit. Especially you can, if you hit Shift Tab, I think is the default, you can all load up a web browser while you're in a full screen Steam game and just have MouseHuntGame.com running there if you really wanted to, or like I do, just have my phone on the desk beside me and just do a quick like swipe widget. I do that all too much. I'll sound the horn in my web browser, and then I'll still go to my phone and sound it from the widget too. It's like, oh yeah, I already hunted. Okay, imagine that. A dual charm conduit would be nice. No, it might also just break everything. So no plans to ever let you arm two charms. Just without that being in the original design of charms from the get-go, we'd have to reimagine what every charm does, because some really funky stuff would happen if you could arm two charms. So no plan of ever allowing that. Could you imagine, especially charms that do special effects, all the assumptions of years and years in the code of like, no, they can only arm one charm. What happens if you arm like a wax charm with a sticky charm. What's even going to happen? The code may implode upon itself. The whole game gets sucked into a vortex and we just find ourselves in an alternate rift dimension. Alex, what's the status on adding only XTs while hunting in the idea bank with no timeline of possibly being able to add it? Favorite base slots on mobile? Got to get scrolling back through the prestige. That's definitely overdue as well. Kind of a little inventory management. Love to unify that on mobile and browser as well. But it's always the number one challenge. As evidenced in just a short period during Feedback Friday, there are dozens, if not hundreds of like, yeah, that sounds good. But, you know, imagine if everything takes a week and you have 100 things to do. Oops, that's 100 weeks. And that's a couple years. Steam gave you buy for free surprise. It's just a web link. Wow, yeah. That's the beauty of it. It runs in a web browser. And hey, everything can kind of access web browsers these days. All right, I have hit noon. I think that is my cue to skidoo. Thank you so much for joining me this week, hunters. Have a fantastic weekend and fantastic rest of your day ahead. Like I said, I don't think there'll be a Feedback Friday. In fact, I'm pretty confident there will not be a Feedback Friday next week because it is a holiday here in Canada and we'll be closed down for the day. But then after that, I don't know. We'll have to kind of see. It'll either be Jacob or myself. I imagine because we're getting oh so close to probably doing a bit of a Folklore Forest centric Feedback Friday. We're going to have to pick when we want to fit that in. So we'll have to look at a calendar, do a little brainstorming, and see how we want that schedule to play out. So I'm not quite sure who will join you next time. But have a fantastic weekend. Happy hunting, everybody. And I'll catch you next time.
1, 2.
You're a trap. Don't seem to mind it. You attract me. I'm a mouse, you're a cat. I don't seem to mind it. Soft and furry. Oh, and just when I think I'm safe, snap. Turns out I'm never safe, snap. Just when you think you're safe, snap. I come back. You don't seem to mind it, but I'm a fool. Broke my back. You don't seem to mind it, 'cause you're so cool. And just when I think I'm safe, snap. Turns out I'm never safe, snap. Ooh. And just when you think you're safe, snap.